chemical that way. Remember in my previous video I treat the classification of separators by orientation, which is the vertical and the horizontal, but today I will be treating the classification of separators by phase separation, by phases. So we have two-phase separator and we have three-phase separator. I believe that if you have not watched my previous video, go and watch it for you to understand this video. So when you see a vertical separator in the industry and you see a horizontal separator, what will come to your mind? Is this a two-phase separator, or is this a horizontal, or is this a three-phase separator? So when you see a three-phase separator, you will know that this is a three-phase separator. When you see a two-phase separator, you will know that this is a two-phase separator. So at the end of the video, when you see a vertical separator, you will know it without nobody telling you that this is a two-phase separator or this is a three-phase separator. And when you see a horizontal separator, you will know it without nobody telling you that this is a three-phase or two-phase separator. So let's come to this two-phase separator. So now, two-phase separator, how do we know that a separator is a two-phase or is a three-phase? How do we know that a separator is a two-phase separator? First of all, now a two-phase separator is for oil and gas. You should take note of that. It's for oil and gas. Remember in my previous video I said for our gas to be separated, when we have too much of gas in our crude oil, it is better to use vertical separator. So it's better to use vertical separator because our gas will be easily released from our crude oil. As you can see here, for the gas zone, you can easily release out of the separator. So our two-phase separator, normally usually have our vertical separator as our two-phase separator. So which is the gas zone and the liquid collection zone. So when you see a vertical separator in oil and gas industry, what will come to your mind is this will be a two-phase separator. Another thing we should understand that if we have, let me come to my notes, let me write it here. For example, I have a vertical separator. For example, I have a vertical separator and I said the gas is coming out and the liquid is coming out. So in two-phase separator, one thing you should know is that, and like I said in my previous video, that when we have too much of liquid in separator, we use a horizontal separator, but if we have too much of gas, we use vertical separator. So in two-phase separator, one thing you should know is that we have too much of gas in the separator. So I say vertical separator is more better for when we have too much of gas. It's more better to use when we have too much of gas. So if you have the gas to release, more easily. So that is why we use. That is why our two-phase separator are usually vertical separator. So if you get this, we will go further that our two-phase separator, we have too much of gas. When we have too much of gas or the crude oil, we can use two-phase separator to separate it, which is what we call the gas will easily release and the liquid will be at the bottom. So the liquid will be at the bottom. So this liquid, we call it bulk liquid. So we call it bulk liquid. This liquid contain both gas and oil and water. So that is what we call it bulk liquid. It contains both oil and water. So our two-phase separator are used when we have too much of gas on our crude oil. I want to separate the gas. We use vertical separator, and in the state when we are separating gas on our crude oil, when we have too much of gas and we are releasing gas on our crude oil, that is a two-phase separator. So because we have just our gas and our liquid, we call it bulk liquid, that contain both oil and water. So we know it now that our two-phase separator are usually vertical separator, where we separate just gas and liquid. They are usually vertical separator, where we separate just gas and liquid. Now what about our horizontal separator? What about our three-phase separator? Our three-phase separator is a separator that separates both oil, gas and water. So when you're talking about gas, oil and water, that is a three-phase separator. But when you talk about just gas and liquid, that's a two-phase separator. So when we have too much of liquid in the crude oil, we use three-phase separator. Remember that when we have too much of gas in the crude oil, we use two-phase separator. Now when we have too much of liquid in the crude oil, we use three-phase separator. So in the industry, when you see a horizontal separator, you know is that this is a three-phase separator. Mostly that's what they are using mostly. So that's a three-phase separator. So it separates both gas, oil and water. So if the water amount in the feed is considerable amount, when the water in the feed is the water amount in the feed is high, then you are going to have three-phase separator. If the amount of water is not that much or high, so it's better to use two-phase separator. So of course you have noted that. So in a situation where we have a two-phase separator, like I said, the two-phase separator are usually vertical separator. So for my drawing, let's take this as a two-phase separator. Take this as a So like I said, two-phase separator are usually vertical separator. So let's take this as our two-phase separator. So this is our two-phase separator, the gas outlet, like the liquid outlet here. So you see it that, for example, when there is too much water, like I said, if there is too much water, you need three-phase separator. Now for example, now if there is too much water, you need to go and use two-phase separator, which is vertical separator. Two-phase separator, separate it. And you send it to a liquid pipeline. The much water and the liquid will cause a corrosion on the pipeline. So that is better still to use our three-phase separator when there is too much water. The three-phase separator helps to separate the water. You have to separate the water more in the separator. You have to reduce the water in the separator before you send the crude oil to the pipeline. So if you use a vertical separator or a two-phase separator to separate a crude oil, the water will not totally be removed out of the crude oil. So that will cause a corrosion on the pipeline, and to make our production to be ineffective. So that is the reason why we have 3-phase separator and our 2-phase separator. So under one we have classification of separator by operating pressure. Classification of separator by operating pressure. So we have our high pressure separator and our medium pressure separator. So and we also have our low pressure separator. So majorly if you get to the industry, you usually see this high pressure and the low pressure separator. So the high pressure separator, if you get to the industry, if you see a separator, what will come to your mind? Is this a high pressure separator, or is this a medium pressure separator, or is this a low pressure separator? One thing you should know that, like I said in my previous video, the movement of gas. If you have not watched that video, go and watch it. The high pressure and low pressure separator. So one thing you should know that when let me go to my okay, for example, like I said, this is a vertical separator. Let me say this is a high pressure separator. So one thing you should know that gas is also a pressure. Gas is a pressure. So by the time that the crude oil is coming for the reservoir, or the oil well, it's coming with the high pressure, which is because of the high amount of gas. So when that crude oil that contain high amount of gas, it cannot be dumped into low pressure separator. That will make the separator to vibrate and can cause a damage to the separator. So we dump that high pressure separator, we dump that high pressure crude oil in our high pressure separator. So when that crude oil is coming with the high pressure, because of the gas that's inside, remember, gas is also known as pressure. So if the amount of gas in the crude oil is low, the pressure will be low. If the amount of the gas in the crude oil is high, the pressure will be high. So when it's coming with a high pressure, it will dump into the separator, and for that, let me go to the video so that you understand it. Okay, this is our LP separator and our HP separator. So by the time it dump here, so this our HP separator will reduce the pressure. That means after the gas has been released, so it will now, the pressure will now be reduced. And then it will now dump to this low pressure separator. So once I will explain again, remember I said once that dump to the high pressure separator, the pressure will be released, which is the gas will be released, and the pressure will now come down. The pressure will be reduced before it now dump into, let's call this HP high pressure. Let's call this high pressure separator, and for example we have low pressure separator. Here. So by the time that the pressure has been reduced, it will not dump into this low pressure separator. Meanwhile, there is too much of gas here, like I said, so the gas has been reduced. Meanwhile, there's still a little amount of gas. So once they dump into this low pressure separator, the gas also will still be reduced, and they will not have more water. We now have more water on this our crude oil. So that's why we now come to our horizontal separator, which is our 3-phase separator. I'm sorry for the diagram. So we understand now the reason why we have our HP, our high pressure separator, and our low pressure separator, and also we understand the movement, how it will comes to the high pressure crude oil. We first of all dump in the high pressure separator before it goes to the low pressure separator, and then before it can goes to our 3-phase separator to separate. Remember, if the gas is reducing, the water will be increasing. So by the time the water has been increased, it will dump into this our 3-phase separator to treat the water, to separate the water. So that is how our steady phase separator work, and that is how our low pressure and high pressure separator work. So that is the classification of our separator by pressure and by phases. So please watch my previous video to have a better understanding of all this, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more of this. Thank you for watching.